Okay. All right. Well, good morning. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Tahoe-Truckee Sunday morning live streaming service. It's my joy to welcome you here today. I'm Reverend Pam Brandman, the senior minister here at the center. And whoever you are and wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. We know that there are many paths to God, but all of them end in oneness and in love. We're grateful that you are here with us this morning. We start our service with our receptivity statement that you're going to see on our screen. If you would read along with me while you're muted. I am here by divine appointment. Something I am about to hear applies to my life. I am open, receptive, and willing to explore the possibilities. All right. So our musician this morning is Jim Eaglesmith. And Jim is the creative director of Songbird Productions. And for almost 20 years, he has written and performed music for interfaith groups and adult and youth programs throughout northwestern Nevada and the eastern Sierras. Jim is also a licensed heart math trainer, so you might notice how he brings the heart math wisdom along with his spirituality into all of his music. So please help me welcome Jim Eaglesmith.
Thank you. Can I have that copy of that bio? That's good. I could use that. It's nice. So I'm gonna open with a song that I wrote called "I Am the Light." So as I'm singing the song, I invite you to just go into your heart space quietly, breathing heart-focused breath in and out, slowly and relaxed, and let go of any insecurities or discomforts. Release them into the divine light that you are. I see the light. I see the light. I see the light from where all love flows. I am blessed to know the love around me, being a light for me, lighting the way for me. I feel the love. I feel the love. I feel the love from where all love flows. And I am blessed to know the love around me, being a light for me, lighting the way for me. I know the grace, I know the grace, and I know the grace from where all love flows. And I am blessed to know the love around me, being a light for me, lighting the way for me. I see the light, I feel the love, I know the grace. I am the light.
Thank you, Jim. It's a beautiful way to start the morning. Our practitioner today is our associate minister, Reverend Rick Carney. Reverend Rick continues to contribute his spiritual wisdom, open heart, and organizational skills to our center. He produces our beautiful weekly Constant Contact newsletter and serves as host for our Sunday morning services, and he's the one that sent out that recent educational survey, and that took a lot of work. So, but this Wednesday, I encourage you to join him for the Wednesday night gathering. It's part of the, since it's Women's History Month, he is focusing this week on Louise Hay, who has been one of the most influential and widely known New Thought women, and in personal development as well. It's gone way beyond our religious science, and although she started as a religious science practitioner. We're definitely blessed in many ways to have Reverend Rick be part of our center, so please help me welcome him to provide this morning's invocation and special reading.
Thank you, Reverend Pam. Thank you all. Let's take a moment and go within. And as I go within, the words of Jim's song stay with me. The light, the love, the wisdom that comes forth with grace from the Divine One. And I know that the time that we spend together is divinely inspired. It is divinely sanctioned. As we share in the One, we live in the One. We are just these individual centers within the One. And it's the One that binds us, the One that supports us, the One that brings forth all good things, all the many blessings that we have. I feel simply gratitude, total and complete gratitude with love for myself, for my family, for my community, for my world. And the love that goes forth this day is, as Jim described, it's like this shining light of loving beams spreading wider and wider as I speak with you today. And the blessings that go forth with that shall support and uplift and bring us all together as we come to realize our oneness, our unity, our family. And it's with great love and joy that I release this prayer, knowing it is already here, already present, already active, where it cannot be otherwise. As together we say, and so it is, so it is. Our theme this month is endless possibilities. And Reverend Pam will be speaking about release and let go in her talk today. And I was divinely led to a poem called She Let Go. She let go. Without a thought or a word, she let go. She let go of the fear. She let go of the judgments. She let go of the confluence of opinions swarming around her head. She let go of the committee of indecision within her. She let go of all the right reasons. Wholly and completely, without hesitation or worry, she just let go. She didn't ask anyone for advice. She didn't read a book on how to let go. She didn't search the scriptures. She just let go. She let go of all the memories that held her back. She let go of all the anxiety that kept her from moving forward. She let go of the planning and all the calculations about how to do it just right. She didn't promise to let go. She didn't journal about it. She didn't write the rejected date in her date timer. She made no public announcement, put no ad in the paper. She didn't check the weather report or read her daily horoscope. She just let go. She didn't analyze whether she should let go. She didn't call her friends to discuss the matter. She didn't do a 5-step spiritual mind treatment. She didn't call the prayer line. She didn't utter a single word. She just let go. No one was around when it happened. There was no applause or congratulations for her. No one thanked her or praised her. No one noticed a thing. Like a leaf falling from a tree, she had just let go. There was no effort. There was no struggle. It wasn't good and it wasn't bad. It was what it was. And it is just that. In the space of letting go, she let it all be. A small smile came across her face. A light breeze blew through her, and the sun and the moon shone forevermore. The title is She Let Go. And now it's time for Jim to grace us once again with his music. Jim, do you want to introduce your song? Oh, you're muted, Jim.
This is how I look when I'm muted. I'm going to share the power of goodwill. The word good contains the word God, God's will. And I want to mention that the images that you're going to see, one is at Bartley Ranch in an outdoor concert for a conscious community. And I had a band of some local musicians together to play jazz and blues musicians, but I wanted the heart of the song to be sung by children. And so I asked the Nevada Youth Opera to come. And then I went downtown and I got the Kwanzaa kids and Boys and Girls Club kids and brought them together unrehearsed. Just before that, they got to look at their notes, but all three, Kwanzaa kids, Boys and Girls Club, and the higher echelon Nevada Opera kids all came together for the first time and sang this song on stage. And then later I brought them into the recording studio and recorded this song. So you're going to hear some of their voices on this song. And it's just so powerful to hear the voices of the children. So this song is a prayer, goodwill for all.
When two hearts come together, it's greater than the sum. And when two and more are gathered for the same, we call upon the courage from somewhere deep within. And we realize dreams for you and I stand for integrity and stay the course with me. Can you believe in something far greater than yourself? Will you receive the magic of its love? There's a tidal wave of passion that yearns to be fulfilled. Now be still, feel the power of goodwill. Stay the course with me.
Can you believe in something far greater than yourself? Will you receive the magic and its charm?
There's a tidal wave of passion that yearns to be fulfilled. Now be still, feel the power of goodwill. Something far greater than yourself. Will you receive the magic of its love? There's a tidal wave of passion that yearns to be fulfilled. Be still, feel the power of goodwill. Be very, very still. Feel the power of goodwill.
Some of you may know that was Joe McKenna on jazz bass from CSL Reno.
Well, thank you very much, Jim. The power of goodwill, and it's that's something to know that it's there is really important when we release. We know what's catching us, right? And so we're talking this month about open to visioning and to greater things. Today I want to talk about release and let go. And this, when we look into the Spirit's vision for our lives, for the greater possibilities, there's a challenge that before we can have clarity to see Spirit's highest idea for our lives, we need to release and let go of those habits, the beliefs, and attachments that no longer serve us because they obscure and impede our vision. You know, we might think that we're really earnestly going forward, but we keep getting stuck. You know, it's when we learn how to make things happen in our lives, and you know, we really get good at making things happen, our egos can get pretty confident, and we think we don't have to take the time to stop, to listen to Spirit's vision for us. We have the ability and willpower to reach our goals, get things done all by ourselves, or maybe with our team. But we're ready to take on any challenge. You know, we can often think that we can do anything, everything better than anyone else. You know, our willpower can also get in the way of listening to divine guidance, right? Now, there's a story that always is very humbling, and it reminds me of this. And this was when my first husband, Pat Forrester, who's passed away, and we were in Newfoundland, Canada, and Grossmoor National Park. And it's a beautiful area. Newfoundland is an island out in the ocean. You have to get there on a ferry. And we went on a day hike. It's about a 16-mile round trip. We were only going to do about half of that. Excuse me. And it was about 2.5 miles in. It follows along near a river, and then there's this wide plain area that's a big bog, and it goes up to the base of the mountain, and then you start going another 2.5 miles up to the top of the mountain in a plateau. So when you go across the bog, there's a boardwalk that goes around it. Now it's about half an hour if you go straight across, but the boardwalk takes about a mile and a half to go around the perimeter. So we made our way on the boardwalk around the perimeter, and we started going up the mountain. Now, we'd been going up for about half an hour, 45 minutes, and this cloud just came down over top of us. And it kept getting thicker and thicker and thicker. And so eventually we couldn't see more than a foot or two ahead of us. And it's a little dangerous to go up a mountain you know nothing about and when you can't see. So we turned around early that day to go back down the mountain. And when we got to the base of the mountain, the fog was gone, so it was something that was happening at the higher elevation. And so, but we were going to head back to the car, and so Pat wanted to take a shortcut across that bog. Didn't want to take that whole big long boardwalk because it would add so much time, and you know he was getting hungry and wanted to get back for dinner. We had some snacks, but and I said no. The boardwalk's here for a reason. I'll just take the boardwalk. It's easier. And he said, no, he's got to go straight across there. So, you know, he was a young man in his 20s at the time, so he decided he took off across the bog. And I worked my way around. I got around to the end of the boardwalk, and so I figured, well, you know, I shouldn't go any farther because I'm going to start going down the pass, and I won't be able to see the bog anymore. And I waited. And I waited. I thought, well, maybe he's ahead of me because he did take the shortcut. But I waited about 20 minutes or so. And then I heard this little tiny voice. Pam, Pam. So I called back, Pat, Pat, where are you? Pam, I can't, and it turned out he couldn't see me. And so when he had gone across those bogs, it had ruts that went up and down and up and down, and they were about like 20 feet deep. So when he got down to the bottom of one of the ruts, he had no way of knowing which direction he was going. It was so overgrown, he couldn't see where the sun was. He couldn't see anything. He was totally lost. And so he found me by voice. It's the only way he made his way out of there. And so when he finally made his way out, he was all cut up. He had over his face and arms, and he just had shorts on because it was in the summer. And but he was really grateful that he found his way out. It was very happy to see me and make his way safely down the mountain. But this is a perfect example of how we lose our vision. We think we know it all. We're going to go through. We can handle all of this, and our ego is like that. And so we end up having to surrender. Surrender that ego. Surrender knowing that we know everything. And maybe there's something that we don't know. Maybe there's something bigger and greater. It's like listening to that still small voice of God within us, right? We have a guide as long as we listen. Now, in the Science of Mind textbook, Ernest Holmes has a great quote. Ignorance stays with us until the day of enlightenment, until our vision towards the spirit broadens and casts out the image of a no longer useful littleness. It is the office of the imagination to set the vision. The will should hold it in place until the creative genius of the inner life transforms the image of limitation and transmutes it into liberty under law. So what this is essentially saying is that when we, instead of seeing the limitation, we have to release that and listen to that voice within. When we go through the visioning process, we're aligning with the spirit, we're aligning with the one, and allowing that to be our vision, be our guide, and then that vision can be what manifests. Now, there's a big difference between visualization and visioning. When you're visualizing something, you have an idea and you think about what you want it to be. And if you want a new car, first you decide what make and model you want. Do you want an SUV, or do you want a little sports car, or do you need a big car that's going to carry a big family, or is it just one or two people that's going to be there? And then you start thinking about the color and all these different things. So you're visualizing it. But when you're visioning, you don't have that preconceived idea that you start with. You get still and you focus on your oneness with spirit and allow spirit to bring up what comes into our vision. So when we stop listening to that vision, that is when we get stuck in life. When our vision gets blocked, our progress seems to get blocked as well. This is what it can look like. Have you ever prayed over and over for something and seemingly not had your prayer answered? You can know exactly what you want. What you think is the absolute perfect answer to your prayer. So you do your spiritual mind treatments, you ask God earnestly for what you want, and you wait expectantly, and nothing happens. Or things get worse. How could spirit deny you this perfect outcome? It is absolutely perfect. You know it, right? And so this experience of encountering obstacles and circumstances that seem to block our good can occur when we look outside of ourselves to the material world for answers, or ask other people for answers. Even looking to our personal past experience that might have worked for us up until now, but that can lead us to a dead end. Now, through the visioning process, we look within to spirit to tap into that realm of possibilities, the infinite possibilities that go beyond what we can conceive of with our finite mind and limited vision. Many of the possibilities look impossible when we first see them, as long as we judge them from our personal experience and our ego-based beliefs. Right? To experience something greater in our lives, we must go beyond what we can do on our own with our own willpower, knowledge, and strength. Ernest Holmes makes this point with this quote from the Living the Science of Mind. We must increase our receptivity, continuously extend and expand our comprehension. We shall declare 100 times a day, there is no limit to the good which is mine. I think we're on the next slide. Rick? So we make it true in our minds, and we work on believing that that is the truth. So then the doorway to step into the realm of infinite possibilities is releasing and letting go of beliefs, habits, and attachments that no longer serve us. Michael Beckwith says that 100% of spiritual growth is letting go. You know, Sapphire Rose comes from, that wrote that poem that Rick read this morning, is from Agape, which is where Michael Beckwith's center. And so he talks a lot about letting go over and over in all of his books and his talks. And so a release allows us to be lifted up and out of the discord, out of the rut, just like the ruts in the bog in Newfoundland when Pat got lost. The act of release creates room for something new to enter our consciousness and experience. It also removes the obstacles and impediments that block our vision and block manifestation of the divine intention, which is the highest and best possibilities for us and for all people in a situation. Howard Thurman says that sometimes our experience of self-confidence is so overwhelming that we forget the limitations by which our lives are surrounded. You know, this is when we are so prayed up, when we've been meditating and we are really in alignment with the One, and we remember who we truly are, right? And that is and so we have that experience of oneness. When we're really stuck then, it's really important to ask for help, to see what needs to be released. And there's lots of different ways to do this. So I'm going to share a few with you this morning. The first one is that I'm sure many of you know, is the Serenity Prayer. It's a very useful tool that has helped me navigate some of life's challenges. It's from the Alcoholics Anonymous, and it's used by many other organizations such as Al-Anon and generally. But it says, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Right? There's that divine guidance, each step of those places, right, along there. Now, another way that we can get guidance is through dreaming. They can give us important clues. We don't always understand it, but in the Talmud, a compilation of ancient Jewish teachings, they mention this. It says, the dream not interpreted is like a letter from God not read. Right? So pay attention to your dreams. Maybe keep a pencil or pen and paper beside your bed, so when you wake up in the middle of the night, jot it down and then think about it in the morning. You can also ask for guidance what it means, and you'll have another dream that'll help you understand what that first dream meant. You may want to work with a practitioner for one or more full sessions to identify what your limiting beliefs are and to release them, or to help understand what that dream was all about, or why you're stuck, right? I've been praying and I'm stuck. What's going on? And the practitioners have a lot of training and different ways to help you do that. Shadow work can also be very helpful in honoring that parts of us. Rather than denying it, we have to welcome and understand our shadow because it's a part of us. Now, for me and for many people, the essential process that has been most effective and transformative is surrendering. Eugene Holden is a practitioner. He was for many years, he was the director of the World Ministry of Prayer, and he writes the affirmations and daily guides in this month's magazine. But this one was from in November 2018 when he wrote these guides. And he wrote, "Fear keeps us hanging on to what doesn't work in our lives. It also keeps us from surrendering to our good. Surrender has two sides. We surrender all that does not serve us. That's the release part. And then we surrender to our highest good. Right? We surrender what does not serve us when we release it to spirit. And then we have to surrender our fear of the unknown and embrace those higher possibilities that spirit intends for us. And we'll talk more about that next week. Now, possibilities are revealed the best when we are in the beginner's mind. One of my favorite Zen parables is about an important man that came to a Zen master and demanded that the master teach him about enlightenment right here, today. And so the master calmly suggested that they have a cup of tea while they talked. When the tea was ready, the master began to fill the visitor's teacup. And as the cup gradually filled, the master kept pouring the tea. Soon the teacup began overflowing onto the table and then onto the robes of the visitor. And the visitor shouted, "Enough, enough! Can't you see that the cup is already full and the tea is flowing over?" The master smiled at his guest, stopped pouring, and said, "You are like this teacup, so full that nothing more can be added. Come back to me when the cup is empty. Come back to me with an empty mind." Now, if we think we know everything, there's no room left for the divine. Releasing and letting go of our limiting beliefs and expectations is like emptying our cup and making room for transformation. Shunryu Suzuki, Roshi, maybe you can help me say that, Jim. In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities. In the expert's mind, there are few. So this Zen story is told many, many times because the beginner's mind is so important to understand what we're doing. Now, I want to share one more story with you this morning. And this one is about Reverend Dr. Bill Hornaday. Now, Dr. Hornaday was a minister that Ernest Holmes asked to take over his church when Dr. Holmes decided to partially retire a few years before he passed away in 1960. But Hornaday had tried numerous times in his life to avoid being a minister. William H.D. Hornaday came from a family of ministers. Both his father and his grandfather had been Methodist preachers. And Hornaday also became a Methodist minister, and he went to China to carry out missionary work. While he was there, he absorbed more from the Buddhist teachings than he taught about the Christian beliefs. So he decided, ministry is not for me, and he came home, decided to go into business. So after returning to Los Angeles, Hornaday went into business manufacturing ant villages as educational toys. Interesting choice. So a friend invited Bill to attend several of Ernest Holmes' Sunday lectures. Bill was so impressed that he enrolled in the first year Science of Mind night classes. Now, this is back when the classes it was 30 weeks, and you went every week, and there was a lot of reading and homework. Now, Ernest heard that Bill had formerly been a preacher, and so he invited Bill to lunch one day. He told Bill, "Now, I think you should know that I have been treating," which is our term for affirmative prayer or spiritual mind treatment, "for a preacher. My Sunday service has been standing room only for so long that I had to start a second service at another location with a different minister. That minister has been recruited by another church, and I need to replace him. And that congregation wants a preacher." That second church. So a few months later, Bill Hornaday decided to sell his not successful ant farm business. Being a businessman was also not his calling. But when he couldn't find a willing buyer, he decided he'd put the business equipment in storage, and the next Sunday he went off to the Belmont Theater to see what it was like. Now, it was the existing minister's last Sunday before he left. This theater was a big movie theater, had 1,680 seats, but that Sunday, there were only 100 people in the audience. Not exactly the best church to take over if you want to be a successful minister. But Ernest Holmes was not deterred. He had treated for a successful preacher to take over at Belmont, and so his advice to Reverend Bill before he gave his first sermon the next week was, now go and prove the principle. So nervously, Reverend Bill Hornaday walked onto the stage and the podium. So they dimmed down the theater lights as they would, and they had a podium light, but the podium light went out. In fact, it was so dim that Reverend Bill could not read his notes. So nervously, Reverend Hornaday began to just preach what came off the top of his head. So he talked about the science of mind teachings that he had been learning about and the healings that he had witnessed with his own eyes. His confidence increased as the audience responded to his sermon. And so Reverend Bill released his fear that he was not destined to be a minister. But 100 people in the audience would not generate the $6,000 he needed to keep the doors open. So the next Sunday, almost 100 people showed up. At earnest admonition, Reverend Bill told the audience during the offertory that the $6,000 they needed to continue Sunday services was now forthcoming. You know, he spoke in the present tense like we're taught to do when we do treatment work. He spoke his word and he let it go to work. He released and let go. So after the service, a woman came up to Reverend Bill and told him that her husband had enjoyed hearing Reverend Bill the prior Sunday, but he was ill today and had stayed home. So she asked Reverend Bill to treat for her husband. He did so. Now, the divine affirmation that Reverend Bill was in his right place came when the woman happily wrote a check for $6,000 and left for home. It was a very good treatment, I guess. But Reverend Bill had released and let go of his old fears and expectations about his career, and the great possibilities that the divine intended for him came into being. Now, Reverend Bill Hornaday went on to be the primary fundraiser for the magnificent Founders Church in downtown Los Angeles. Ernest Holmes gave the first sermon at Founders Church on January 3rd, 1960, but he passed away on April 7th that year. Now, as the senior minister at Founders, Dr. Hornaday preached there from 1960 until his death in 1992, when the congregation numbered 7,000. He really could preach. I heard Dr. Bill speak at a Silmar one summer, and he was mesmerizing, just amazing. Right? Now, our Center for Spiritual Living, Tahoe-Truckee, is currently in its own pledge drive for 2021. Last year, we began our Center's Good to Great visioning process, and our leadership team has taken all those visioning statements that we collected on November 22nd from the whole congregation, and we're weaving them together into our center's vision and what we call our moonshot goal. And next week, we plan to reveal the Good to Great vision at our annual meeting next Sunday after service. It's been amazing to see how inspired and energized that vision is. There is so much agreement among everyone's vision that they shared on that November day. And it's clear that this is Spirit's intention for us. We've been tuned into Spirit's highest idea for our beloved Tahoe-Truckee Center. We've also built on that visioning process that created the preliminary 2021 budget to implement that vision. And so we're very excited about that vision and all of the things that we want to co-create with Spirit. So consequently, we know that Spirit is also manifesting the funds to carry out that vision. If you have the vision, then you must have everything that it takes to manifest it, right? It's all from Spirit. And so we've set this year's general fund stretch pledge goal at $76,000 or $6,300 a month. Now, our stretch budget, we call it, would allow us to co-create what we saw in that vision. We want to upgrade our website and social media to connect with a wider audience. We want to combine spirituality with the natural beauty of Tahoe to create retreats and forest bathing experiences. We want to host Wednesday night adventures like hikes and barbecues combined with a spiritual discussion experience. We want to create more adult classes as well as programs for youth and family like yoga classes. And sponsor musical and holiday events for our members and the community. You know, we have wonderful musicians and they would love to have a time when they can play for an audience that appreciates spiritual music. You know, they're not always they like playing in the bars, but it's also good to have an audience that is tuned into this different type of music as well. I'm sure Jim can tell you that. So each person who makes a pledge is a partner to co-create our vision. This is our spiritual family. And just like you, we want to have a steady income to support our family. So your pledges allow us to plan ahead. They give us confidence to initiate these new programs this summer when we reopen rather than waiting until the money shows up, right? So with pledges, we can plan ahead. The pledges also allow us to release the fear that we're stretching too far too fast, all right? You let us know how, you know, as we build up our consciousness, we can co-create more. So we're speaking our word and letting Spirit take over. We know that the pledges are on their way right now. And since the mail has been pokey and on Tahoe time this year, you can give us a heads up on your pledge amount by calling the office or someone on the stewardship team today, Monday or Tuesday. That will allow us to finalize the 2021 budget in time for our annual meeting next week. So we want to think big rather than thinking small. All right? And so I think Rick's going to paste in the chat the phone numbers for the people that you can call. And just give us a heads up. We need your paperwork to have on file, but we'd like to know the numbers so we have a good number. So as we look at the, if we could put that chart back up, Rick, of what we want to manifest, be slide 12. So far we've received $46,660 of our intended $76,000 in annual donations. So we have a ways to go. But every pledge commitment, whether it's small or big, is important to reach our goal. And so we're looking forward to hearing from each person. Now, we're also doing well on our goal to earn a matching fund challenge grant from Michael Brandman. For every new pledge or every dollar that you increase your 2021 general fund pledge over last year, your money will be doubled, up to a maximum of $5,000. So far, donors have increased their pledges by $4,660. So we are almost there. And if you can give just $10 or $50 or $100 extra a month, it will move us towards that goal. And we can get Michael to spend his money. Right? So we're asking you to pray on the value and the benefits that you receive from CSL Tahoe-Truckee and then fill out and send in your pledge card form. We're grateful that you want to be a part of our center, and we all want to co-create a wonderful center together. We know that you are blessed, and we are blessed by your generosity and your participation in our center, contributing your time, talent, and your treasure. So let's take this to prayer. As I contemplate the beauty and the wonder of Spirit, the beauty of Tahoe all around me as we have these last days of winter and the coming of spring. Oneness is an easy reality to perceive. That oneness is that one life force that is within me. It is breathing me, moving me, embracing me, and supporting me. It is that still small voice within that is guiding me, providing my vision. And so I take the time to be still and let God love me. I take the time to be still and listen to the voice the vision of Spirit, the highest idea for my life. And as the yeah buts come up in my mind of why that cannot be so, I release those thoughts to God. I release and let go of those beliefs and fears that would have me play small. And so the light breaks through the clouds. I dare to see myself in the highest possibilities as God sees me, as God sees my life, as God sees this Center for Spiritual Living, Tahoe-Truckee. I embrace my higher self. And as my conscious awareness turns to our beloved spiritual center and family, I release all the limits that I have set for CSL Tahoe-Truckee. And I embrace the higher intention that Spirit has for us. I embrace our vision of going from good to great. It feels so magnificent to know that I am all in for our vision of embracing all while awakening to the one. I am all in for creating a world that works for everyone. I'm so grateful for this awareness, for this moment, for this feeling of being whole, perfect, and complete, right here and right now, just as I am and just as I am not. All is well. All is one. And so I release and let go and let Spirit run my life. And together we say, and so it is.
And so it is.
I think Jim is going to continue that thought.
The thought that comes to me was that I used to sing in the casinos for adults drinking and smoking, and now I'm singing for kids laughing and dancing, and adults like you behaving like children. So it's really comforting. There was a time in my life when I thought I had to do it all myself, and I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. And I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you don't got to let it go. You got to let it all go. And this is what you have to say. Open the heart, touch the soul, and lift the spirit. I release, I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am here with the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release, I let go. Let the Spirit run my life. Yes, my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit, only here for God. Yes, I'm free in the Spirit, and yes, I'm only here for God.
Thank you, Jim. I love that song. It's a Ricky Byers favorite. So that brings us into our prosperity time. And so in our center, we're talking about our offerings and pledges, and this is our time to share with our center. And so we know that God is our infinite source. As our teaching teaches, that Spirit works through us to manifest whatever it is that Spirit wants to bring forth. And so when we share our time, talent, and treasure, that is the part of that law of circulation where what we give and receive, it goes in and out. So there's many ways to give, and so whether you want to send a check or use PayPal, that's on our website, or it's in the newsletter. That's always available. So you can go ahead and do all of that. But I think Rick, are we ready for our offertory song? Oh, we'll say our affirmation first. Good. Okay, so if you would repeat with me. I gratefully and joyfully share my offering, which flows from God, my infinite source. My gift blesses this center and all who are guided, healed, and empowered by its activities. All I share with life returns to me blessed and multiplied. All right. So we're going to sing along with Karen Drucker.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
All right. And so all of these offerings, we know that they are from Spirit. They come through us, but it is all a gift from Spirit that we are sharing back to our source and sharing with our spiritual center and with the world. We thank you, Father, Mother, God, for this generosity, for this graciousness, and for the abundance that fills our lives and for people everywhere. For abundance is the nature of the universe, and so we release anything that would block that truth and know that all is provided. Thank you, Father, Mother, God, and so it is. Well, welcome. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. And this is time for our announcements with our Associate Minister, Reverend Rick Carney.
Thanks, Reverend Pam. I feel like that magician that has the plate spinning on the top of sticks, and he runs back and forth. That has been an interesting experience. Anyway, as you know, we always record our services, and you should invite your friends and family to check them out on Zoom, or the recordings could be found on our YouTube channel, and the links to those videos are in our newsletter, are in Facebook, as well as in Instagram. So I invite you to check it out. Next week, Reverend Pam continues the March theme of Open to Possibilities with the talk called Open Arms, with Open Arms. Super Doyle comes back as our musical guest, and Brenda Hildorn will be our practitioner. This afternoon, after service, we have the second of our 2 classes on discovery. And the second class deals with what it's like to be a member of the CSL Tahoe-Truckee. So I invite you to check that out. I also invite you to check out the Wednesday evening gathering. This is, as Reverend Pam said, a continuation of our series on women leaders of the New Thought, and are going to spend some time getting to know Louise Hayes, who through her books and through her films and through her television presentations has brought the ideas of New Thought into the American mainstream. And while she has transitioned, her thoughts and her teachings are still part of the dialogue here today. So I invite you to come around and join the conversation. Something also coming up is next Sunday, immediately after service, we will have our annual members meeting. And this is the one time a year where we get together and vote new members into our board of trustees to replace those who are coming off the board. We also get a chance to hear about this good to great process and the wonderful ideas that have come forth from that. Get to know our accomplishments from last year and plans for the coming year. You get the chance to ask questions and have dialogue with the Board of Trustees, and we encourage you to stick around after service next week and be part of that. You may not have seen the initial presentation, the premiere of Emily Tesmer's film, Walking with My Sisters, which talks about the issues associated with Native American people in our area, and especially the activities in the Olympic Valley, formerly known as Squaw Valley. And you'll get a chance to learn a little bit more about all of this by watching the video, which is now available online at the address you see down there, also in our Constant Contact newsletter. Don't miss the Easter egg hunt. This is coming up on Saturday, April 3rd. It's a new time. It's 1 o'clock to 2, so we have a chance to eat lunch before we go. And then there'll be other family fun activities associated with that as well.
Yeah, and it's from 1 to 3.
I'm sorry, 1 to 3, thank you.
Yeah.
So it'll be COVID safe, socially distanced, of course, but we wanted to make sure that we have this opportunity to come together and hunt for Easter eggs. So much fun. The survey is now live. You may have gotten an email at home announcing it. And thank you all who have completed it already. We really do need the rest of you to go online there to the Survey Monkey link that came in the email. It's also in the newsletter, and spend just about 5 minutes letting us know what are the things that you would like to learn about in 2021. What are the activities that you would prefer to see happen? And this is your chance to let your voice be heard. So check out that online survey and please fill it out and send it in. Reverend Pam has already mentioned the pledges. Please make sure to send those in as well. We still have a very, very full schedule for such a small center as ours. There's something going on all the time. And I want to especially point out that Sue Peipel's course in A Course of Love won't be meeting in the coming week. It'll be the week after, the 4th Friday of the month. This week, it's going to be the book study, Letting Go by David Hawkins. You might notice that the Course in Miracles with Ned Deantios is not listed here. Ned has taken his program to a different Zoom link and is running independently. So reach out to Ned if you're interested in joining his group, A Course in Miracles. And with that, Reverend Pam, I hand it back to you. Oh, you're muted, Reverend Pam.
I think it's the early hour, maybe. So anyway, the one thing we always want to mention is our practitioners, our wonderful practitioners, and you will make their day if you call them and ask for prayer. So if you would like a prayer, you can leave a message in the chat, and we'll link you up with one of the practitioners, or you can send them a message and they'll call you. Put your phone number in there. You can put it in privately if you want to. So it's confidential, whatever you share with a practitioner. But we know that prayer works. And and if you're stuck, or you're sad, or you want to go from good to great, all of those work well with a practitioner. So we have Carol Delbon is there, Rick Carney, minister and our practitioner for today, and then Brenda Eldorn is here as well, and then I'm also a practitioner. So so anyway, please avail yourself of that. Now for our closing song, we're going to have our guest choir director, Chris Law, is going to be leading us in the peace song. But first, we're going to have our closing affirmation. So if you would read along with me, the more I release, the more good I experience.
peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begin with me. Let this be the moments now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begin with me. Let this be the moments now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Well, thank you, Chris, and thank you everyone for being with us today. And remember, we'll have a hospitality time, so if you would all like to unmute and we can share. And for those of you coming to the discovery class at 11:30, make sure that you come back and you might want to get a snack, and we'll see you on the same link. So we'll keep it open. All right. So how many cups of coffee did everyone have this morning? Or tea?
Tea.